Viewers, Operation Sindoor has obliterated Pakistan's defenses, leaving its whimpering lawmakers drowning in tears and its faltering military in smoking ruins. This is India's savage retribution, viewers, a relentless onslaught that's ripped Pakistan's heart out and demolished any delusions of grandeur it had. Viewers, on the second day of Operation Sindoor, India escalated its unrelenting punishment, delivering a ferocious blow that left Islamabad reeling and its defenses in chaos. Our forces, building on the devastating precision of strikes of yesterday, launched a second wave of attacks that destroyed key Pakistani air defense systems, including, and we have pictures of that, a critical radar installation in Lahore. This has effectively blinded Pakistan's ability to counter India's aerial dominance. Viewers, India unleashed targeted drone and missile strikes across multiple locations in Pakistan. The psychological toll was visible in the Pakistan leadership that was already shaken by first day's losses. Pakistan's response was predictably desperate but futile. What did Pakistan do? Its army resorted to heavy shelling along the line of control that they always do, targeting civilian areas, unarmed people, not even sparing children. They also attempted to hit military installations across 15 Indian cities. But India's air defense units were active and waiting to counter any Pakistani misadventure. And we did it successfully, viewers. Pakistan's leadership, huddled in crisis meetings, could only muster propaganda and hollow threats. Look at what comes up on your screen. The tears in the Pakistan's National Assembly, their parliament, proved India's dominance. No mercy, no pause, viewers. Pakistan's treachery demands a thrashing so brutal that it echoes 1971, when this man on the left of your screen, General Niazi, groveled and surrendered in defeat, and Bangladesh was born. India's fury in 2025 will crush their spirit and their war machine, leaving nothing but ashes. Let their parliament cry, viewers. Let the military run to safety. We don't know where the whereabouts of Munir. Operation Sindoor means business. Prime Minister Modi means business. And Bharat means annihilation. From Rawalpindi to Karachi, Pakistanis will learn that crossing India means obliteration. We've done it in 1971 months. It's time to just revise and repeat that lesson for Pakistan.
हम लगातार इस बात के पक्ष कर रहे हैं कि समस्याओं का समाधान बातचीत के जरिए से हो, परंतु इसका अर्थ यह नहीं है कि हमारी सहनशीलता का कोई नाजायज फायदा उठाए। यदि कहीं कोई हमारे इस संयम का फायदा उठाने की कोशिश करता है तो उसे कल की तरह ही क्वालिटी कार्रवाई का सामना करने के लिए भी पूरी तरह से तैयार रहना होगा। ऐसे रेस्पॉन्सिबल रेस्पॉन्सेस के लिए हम आगे भी पूरी तरह से तैयार हैं।
Now, there are, as I said, a number of issues that have been raised in commentaries, and there's a lot of, as I said, unfounded disinformation and fabrication that has come from across the border. Pakistan trying to wash its hands off any and all involvement with terrorism. I think the Pakistani information minister said there are no terrorists in Pakistan, and I think he was challenged on that in the television program that he was appearing on.
You heard the reactions. Let's quickly open this up. Ashok Sajjanhar needs no introduction. Tilak Devashir, ex-member National Security Advisory Board, written multiple books on Pakistan, knows Pakistan like no one else does. Air Marshal P.S. Ahluwalia with us, former Chief Western Air Command. Major General Sanjay Meston here with me in the studio. Air Marshal Dr. Deeptendu Chaudhary with us. Major Surendra Punia, ex-Special Forces, ex-President's bodyguard. Colonel R.S.N. Singh also joining us. Gentlemen, good evening. I want to begin by asking Mr. Sajjanhar a very simple question. How long are we going to play this waiting game with Pakistan?
Yeah, thank you very much, Pranesh, for having me on your show. And I think it is, it'll be difficult to give some sort of a timeline, but what I could possibly, going into the recent past, after Uri, we did the surgical strikes. That gave us reprieve for about 3 years. That was a strong message to Pakistan coming after what had happened in 26/11 when, we did mobilize our forces, but we did not take any action after that. But after Uri, we got a reprieve for 3 years. After Pulwama, Balakot, February 2019, we got a reprieve of about 6 years or so, because that was an action in Balakot that was much more severe than what we had done as far as the surgical strikes are concerned. Today, what we have done with Operation Sindoor, I think it is a qualitative jump and it is a quantum jump from what we had done in 2019. So I would imagine that there would be a much longer period of reprieve that we would get from Pakistan. Pakistan does not have the wherewithal to really take India on, and this period will provide us also the opportunity to rise, to grow economically. Today we are the 4th largest economy, and we will, if you are able to grow to a $10 trillion economy in another 7-10 years, I think we would be in a very formidable position to deal with any threat that emanates
I understand,
from
Ashok Sajjanhar, what you're saying, but that's a policy issue. You see, it might take time. We don't know when that will happen. But what I want to get to is what is the question on, everyone's mind. What are we going to do to Pakistan this time, that Pakistan learns a lesson, and a lasting lesson? The operation that we did last night on the intervening night of 7th and 8th, Pakistanis responded. And I want to request General Meston if he can quickly walk across to the big screen. Let's put this in perspective. What did the Pakistanis do? General Saab, if you could please come on my right.
Yeah.
And here's what we've put together. The 2 sets of pictures. These are the 15 locations, sir, 15 cities that Pakistanis attempted to strike. Pathankot, Srinagar, Jammu, Avantipura, Amritsar, Ludhiana, Falodi, Chandigarh, Jalandhar. Our air defense systems were waiting, the radars were humming, and we thwarted all of that. And then this was our response. What do you make of this?
Absolutely, this is very, very clear. In one sentence, if I just state, Pakistani offensive capability has been totally decimated. That means in future, for them to launch a air kind of an operation, oblique aerial, these missiles, oblique these UAVs or drones, perhaps that has been nullified.
But General Meston, what do you think of the locations here, the choice of locations? Why did Pakistanis try and hit these places?
See, most of them are actually military bases, whether it is Nal, whether it is, Adhampur, and there are also airfields in that. So intent was to, and firstly, these are all cities which have got, important cities also. So both from the military point of view and from the economic and the cities, they have tried to target these cities so that it will make great news and it will, shatter the entire border areas, and they have done it across the line of control, the entire western border and right up to Bhuj. So that was the intent, but they have been nullified. So whatever intent was, and they thought probably, Indians will get a jitter all along the border. Totally failed by our effective air defense systems of integrated air defense, the command and control system. It's been nullified. Now coming here, they struck. Obviously, we had to strike, because today also the Foreign Secretary was very clear. It is very response, everything we are doing very well measured. They have struck. Indians, we were very clear that what we have to do, and therefore our strategy was very clear. I told you we finished off their offensive capability. Simultaneously, we have finished off their defensive capability. We have shattered their air defense systems, the so-called, things they had acquired, HQ9 and 16 from China.
Right.
We have shattered that, and that was shattered also on day one of the attack, where our missiles hit all the terrorist bases, those 9 bases, successfully without any interference by the Pakistani air defense system. So we have nullified that. So Pakistan's offensive and defensive capability by these 2 actions have been shattered.
Right.
And the Indian military might has been reflected, and now this gives us a full leeway to carry on with their offensive, and they will not dare not to come with their air offensive.
That is what I want to get to eventually, and for that we have Air Marshal P.S. Ahluwalia, Air Marshal Diptendu Chaudhary. But before I bring them in, Mr. Devashar, why can't we do what we did in 1971? Or let me rephrase that. When will we do what we did in 1971 again to Pakistan?
Thank you for having me on your show. Comparisons don't really work. The 71 situation was absolutely different because you had the kind of crisis you had in East Pakistan. And in West Pakistan, they are the ones who attacked us first. So the 2 situations are not comparable. Yes, what can happen is that as a result of the Pakistan army losing its credibility, Pakistan army losing the kind of aura it has, because of the last 2 days, Pakistan army has taken a big hit, both in its offensive capabilities as well as in its defensive capabilities. Then the forces which are aligned against Pakistan army, like the Baloch, as well as the Pashtuns, and even the Sindhis and the people in Gilgit, they get an encouragement to break the shackles of the chains that Pakistan army has put around them and holding Pakistan together. That can happen. So that is when I think, ultimately the Pakistan army has to be weakened. And I think the last 2 days have been very bad days for the Pakistan army, and especially for the Pak army chief. Whatever the image that Pakistan army had built up, and whatever Asim Munir had tried to create this image of being a very strong leader, is today actually shattered. You have people on the streets in Pakistan questioning that we are spending so much of money on the Pakistan army, what are they doing?
Right.
What is the army chief doing? Where is he? Why is he not leading from the front?
Where is General Munir? One doesn't know. I don't know where is he. Is he in Pakistan or is he operating through a remote? But let me bring in Air Marshal Ahluwalia. Air Marshal, you don't mince your words. Now that Pakistanis have dared to hit our, military installations across these 15 cities, obviously that was thwarted. How should India respond, and what does this mean? Sir, I think you're on mute.
Pardon me for that, please.
Yes, sir.
Today's operations that were conducted by basically the Indian Air Force were to suppress the enemy air defenses, what you referred to as SIAD. Perhaps this could have been done before the strikes that we did yesterday. Now, going into the future, what is going to happen is that we have to watch, and everybody's been saying that we want to avoid any escalatory factors. We don't want it to escalate further into a bigger conflict. However, what we've done is we have attacked the military installations. These are all missiles and radar sites which have been effectively destroyed. And the weapon of choice were these kamikaze drones, the Heron and the Harpy, which very effectively was able to neutralize these things. The big question now is that how far is Pakistan going to go? What we need to look at very closely is what will be the reaction of China. Our biggest worry is China getting into the fray and opening up another front for us to create more problems. The question is whether the Pakistani army, because I think their only hope now is that the army will be able to give some resistance in some form or manner before they get into the nuclear threshold. They will certainly, if they are not able to contain us or show that they've been able to contain us to their public, then they are going to resort to two major things, like I said. One is China, and the other is the nuclear threshold, for which, if they cannot attack from the air, it's very clear that our air defenses are solid. Our offensive actions are solid. Our defensive actions are very solid. So offensive and defensive operations are very clear. We are on the up. So they will only have to resort to some action on the ground, the surface forces, the army. And how they react to this now is to be seen. And thereafter, how are we going to contain if they try to take any portions of India somewhere to their advantage? Now, so that's where the situation is. Very, very tricky. You got to watch it very closely. I wish the SEAD operations were done yesterday instead of today, but there must have been a deeper meaning for this. It definitely clears many more attacks from our side.
Right. Marshal Chaudhary, do you share that sentiment of, our response being a mix of offensive and defensive? We know the nature of the enemy. We know what Pakistan is made up of, and that, Pakistan always gives in to provocation. Why are we waiting for Pakistan to, set the rules of engagement?
I'll make a few quick points here. Okay, I'll make a few quick points here. The first and the foremost is that we have a very well calibrated, well thought out, integrated action. I will say a new playbook, new strategy playbook, which is unfolding. We have specifically hit only terror targets in a first round. Pakistan has responded. It had no choice but to respond, and it had no similar target systems, terror target system in our country to hit. So it has no choice but to continue hitting civil targets in the front line, and as well as scattered military targets. But the second round of attack, which has come back from them, and if you look at what is indicated on the map which is shown, which was covered by General Meston, are all frontline airfields. And there's a very deliberate reason Pakistan has done that. But it is to do that, is to suppress and damage and hurt our air power so that Pakistani can escalate now with their air force in a manner which they choose to. But what they did not realize, and this is something we have been working on for ages now, is that India has an extremely well integrated air defense system. Do remember, the Indian Air Force has a peacetime responsibility of sovereign airspace defense, which it does 24/7, 365 days in a year. And now it has upped its ante and gone into an overdrive in a wartime mode, where all its radars, all its sensors and shooters, which are well coordinated, integrated, networked, and has been successful in thwarting Pakistan's air attacks. I mean, the weapons which they have sent across, the drones and missiles which they have fired, we have shot down each and every one of them. So this is, again, please understand that we are taking actions in a very calibrated and careful manner. The onus of escalation rests entirely on them. If they want to take it all the way to what was covered earlier, a war like 1971, it's their choice. We are ready. This is not something we would want to do.
Marshal Chaudhary,
we are ready.
I understand that. We are a responsible democratic country, and we follow the rules of engagement, etc., etc. But Pakistanis, have shown what's on their mind. 15 Indian cities were targeted. You said that, they were our, key airfields. Now, what more are we waiting for? Colonel RSN, what are we waiting for? Another round of attack from Pakistan that we will thwart, then we will hit, their places. Is this now going to go on like this?
No, I don't think so. As brought out, air defenses have already been neutralized, suppressed, destroyed. It is a precursor of things to come. So, but I want to make a very important point. In this entire gamut, why don't you ignore what we did with IWT, that water bomb we unleashed? It poses an existential crisis to Pakistan. So the nuclear bluff is gone. When these jihadis, when they said कि मोदी को जाके बता देना, they were just, echoing what Asif Munir said in United States of America to the Pakistani diaspora. He is the man who actually set the ball rolling, towards this catastrophe and existential crisis that Pakistan finds itself in. So it was at that level things were done. But let me tell you, this Modi ko jaake bata dena and this rant by Asif Munir was based on three factors. One is jihad, second is nuclear weapons, and third is China. Right? And on all these three scores, Pakistan has lost it out completely. And I can bet that the Chinese will never intervene. You mean to say they will come through, Karakoram highway? Or then what happens to China-Pakistan economic corridor, sir? And then what happens to this, push, the Chinese push towards Persian Gulf? And as far as 71 is concerned, I have also written a book on Pakistan, the military factor in Pakistan. And let me tell you, we are in a far better geopolitical and diplomatic environment than what it was in 1971. After 71, it was not that. Do you remember, Mr. Tilak Devashire would recall that Bhutto had appointed a lieutenant general in the rank of CNC. And he had given that famous speech, called that, we must curb this, Bonapartic tendencies. He went after the army. And then the army resurrected itself, when things went, wrong in Balochistan. But this, today Balochistan is like a ripe fruit. आप नक्शा देखिए पाकिस्तान का, अफगानिस्तान से कुछ नहीं, उधर वो पूरा वो border, that Durand line is hot. Arabian Sea, they have no capability. The Chinese cannot come through the mountains. The nuclear bluff is gone. We have unleashed the water bomb. Just tell me one thing. When do we restore? Do you think we will restore this IWT? And if we restore, what will be our condition? Either they do 200% of our calling,
right,
surrender completely before us, or what happens? So this is something extraordinary we have done.
Okay.
And well, I don't think the nuclear bluff has been called off. The Chinese bluff has been called off. And if the Chinese intervene,
on the China question, I'll get Mr. Sajjanhar and Tilak Devashire to come in. But I want to quickly bring in Major Punia. Major Punia, मैं वो सवाल पूछ रहा हूं आपसे जो लोगों के मन में है. Tell Arsan, I'll come back to you. He hasn't spoken, so I'll come back to you. लोग ये पूछ रहे हैं कि कब तक हम ये पहले वो करेंगे फिर हम करेंगे, ये कब तक चलेगा? हमको पता था कि पाकिस्तान क्या करेगा, उन्होंने कल रात को कर दिया, आज रात को पाकिस्तान क्या करेगा हमें नहीं पता. अब हम फिर उनके लिए वेट करेंगे, उसके बाद कुछ करेंगे.
Good evening and Jai Hind to all my senior fellow panelists. ब्रदर, मैं थोड़ा सा मेरा ओपिनियन डिफरेंट है इसमें. किसी भी देश को जंग लड़ने के लिए तीन चीजों की जरूरत होती है. पहला है जज्बा, जुनून और जज्बात. दूसरी चीज है कि उनके पास टर्निंग, एम्युनिशन और वेपन्स. और तीसरी चीज है पैसा. आज पहला ऐसा मौका आया है कि जब पाकिस्तान की जो फौज है न उसमें लड़ने का जज्बा है न जज्बात है। दूसरा, न उनके पास एमुनेशन बचा हुआ है, सिर्फ 4 दिन का था, सिर्फ 4 दिन का एमुनेशन है। क्या वो अफगानिस्तान बॉर्डर पे लड़े, क्या बलूचिस्तान के अंदर लड़े, क्या हमारे साथ कश्मीर से लेके भुज तक लड़े, वो भी नहीं है। न उनके पास वेपन है। और आज जो लाहौर के अंदर उनका एयर डिफेंस सिस्टम बर्बाद कर दिया गया है, दैट शोज क्लियरली कि भारतीय वायुसेना के का कोई जवाब नहीं उनके पास। तीसरी चीज है पैसा। पाकिस्तान स्टॉक एक्सचेंज का 58% फौजी फाउंडेशन के पास है। कल उनका स्टॉक मार्केट 7000 पॉइंट नीचे गया है। पाकिस्तान में आटा 800 रुपए किलो हो चुका है, 800 रुपए किलो आटा हो चुका है। और हिंदुस्तान की इकोनॉमी है वो दुनिया में आज 4थे नंबर पे है। दिस इज द राइट टाइम टू हिट पाकिस्तान। इतना एस्केलेट करना चाहिए और यही मौका है। दोबारा मौका बार बार नहीं आता। इतिहास से हमें सबक लेना चाहिए। और जब तक मौलाना मुनीर की बारात में निकल जाए बैंड बाजे के साथ, तब तक इंडियन आर्मी, एयरफोर्स, नेवी को कंटिन्यूअस पाकिस्तान को हिट करना चाहिए। हिट वेयर इट हर्ट्स, चाहे रावलपिंडी हो, चाहे पेशावर हो, चाहे कराची हो, चाहे लाहौर हो। आज वो मौका आ गया और देश का पॉलिटिकल एस्टेब्लिशमेंट भी इतना स्ट्रांग है प्राइम मिनिस्टर नरेंद्र मोदी के नेतृत्व में, जिसने पहली बार आफ्टर 1971 तीनों सेनाओं को फ्री हैंड दिया है। सो एज पर मी, इंडिया को एस्केलेशन बढ़ा देना चाहिए और इतना मैसिव डिस्ट्रक्शन करना चाहिए पाकिस्तान में। साथ में आपके चैनल के माध्यम से मैं जितने भी जो पैनलिस्ट हैं, जितने भी जो चैनल पे आते हैं, उनसे रिक्वेस्ट करूंगा कि वो सोशल मीडिया के जरिए पाकिस्तान की आवाम से भी अपील करें कि वो सड़कों पे आएं और अपनी सेना का विरोध करें कि भाई हमें क्यों मरवा रहे हो, अगर आपको लड़ना तो जाके लड़ लो।
मेजर पूनिया, वो तो ऑलरेडी हो रहा है। वहां पे जो लोग हैं उनमें तो इतना गुस्सा है। आपने भी कुछ क्लिप्स देखे होंगे। वो बात तो बिल्कुल आपकी सही है, लोगों में वहां गुस्सा है ही ऑलरेडी। But, Mr. Devashar, you've heard RSN Singh, you've heard, our other guests. Do you share this sentiment? It is a divided house on the show. Some believe that, the time is right, let's hit them hard. The others say, let's be a little mature.
I think that India is being careful so as to control the escalatory ladder and to maintain escalatory dominance at each level. You don't want to push Pakistan into such a corner where this foolhardy Mullah army chief feels that his own existence and the existence of Pakistan will only depend on using the nuclear weapons. You see, unfortunately, in Pakistan, the discourse is so loose that they feel that nuclear weapons are war-fighting weapons, not realizing that these weapons are deterrent. But if you push them to such an extent, either you have China and US on board, which makes sure that Pakistan's nuclear weapons are frozen, or you control the escalatory ladder and maintain dominance at each level. Therefore, I think India is being, while exercising a lot of control and hitting the Pakistan where it hurts, is maintaining caution for primarily this reason.
Okay. Mr. Sajjanar, how do you see this China question, and what is the answer to that?
Yeah, I don't think that China will be so foolhardy in attempting to come in any concrete way, in any specific active way. It might provide Pakistan with some intelligence, with some weaponry. There have been reports that when these terrorists came, they had these Huawei, satellite phones, etc. with them. So, they might have got this technology from China, etc. But China has its hands full today on the geopolitical scene.
Right.
With its tariff war going on with the United States. And it definitely does not, it might make some comments that, it regrets what India has done with Operation Sindoor, etc., etc. but then it is not going to take any other measure than that. Let me also add one more point, Priyesh, if you permit, and that is that, we are having today an escalation dominance as far as Pakistan is concerned. As has been explained very clearly by General Meston, as far as their offensive capabilities, also their defensive capabilities, they have been completely devastated. In addition to, and I agree with what Mr. Tilak Deveshar said, that, we have to behave in a very responsible and restrained manner. But in addition to this kinetic, actions that we can take, there are also covert operations that can be undertaken. And I'm sure our people, and we don't speak about it, there's no need to speak about it, but I'm sure there are all these possibilities. And when we speak about what's happening in Balochistan, what is happening on the Durand line,
Right.
what is happening as far as TTP is concerned, I think it leaves very many possibilities for India to continue to turn the screws on as far as Pakistan is concerned and make its life even more miserable than what it is.
Mr. Sajjanar, I have another, question on China, but, I beg your indulgence, sir. I want to bring in Air Marshal Chaudhry. Air Marshal Chaudhry, I want you to, if it's possible, to drop the military jargon and break down what it means when the government says that, look, we've destroyed one of their air defense systems in Lahore. What does it mean? How crippling a blow is this for Pakistan?
Let's be clear here. One air defense system is actually just a small part of a larger integrated network of theirs. But it's a signal. It's a clear signal that, look, this is what we can do right down in your backyard. And like I said, and what I think some of the other speakers have been also alluding to very clearly, that since the escalation onus is on them, we have a capability to do that across the entire Pakistani air bases and the entire air defense system. I think the escalation dominance part has been more than amply clearly laid out. The fact is, what we must understand, that we are taking there's a very clear strategy at play here. A long-term strategy, a strategy of wearing Pakistan down and hurting him in a manner which he will remember for a long time. So it is not about dramatic sudden strikes and, and then not, see, everything has a reaction. So this is a very well calibrated, well thought of action, and the actions which are being taken, I wouldn't like to second guess it, and because obviously this is not our job, there are professionals at work and they are doing that, I think, spectacularly. But hitting one air defense system is, in this, to my mind, if I put it in a very simplistic term, it's just a teaser of a series, a new serial, which has many episodes to come.
Well, that's well put, Air Marshal Chaudhry. But Air Marshal Ahluwalia is not in the best of health, but he still has stayed on. He wants to make a point. Yes, sir, please.
I think it's very important to segregate the operational capability with the other political and diplomatic and international affairs. For instance, the first question that we need to ask and answer, do you want Pakistan to be a stable country or an unstable country? I think the answer would be, you would want Pakistan to be stable. You would want Pakistan to restrain itself from carrying out offensive terrorist activities on our soil. But you don't want to destroy them completely, and neither is it possible. Neither would you want to do that. Do you want to occupy Pakistan? I don't think so, because occupation is a difficult situation by itself. So therefore, whatever we do now, whether it's escalation or not escalation, these are all semantics. The question is, we have to do something to show that we are not going to accept these terrorist attacks. And what we are doing now is a very graded response, a very knowing response, and I think that's the way to go. But first, once again, I go back to the same point. Just one more point I'll say about China. as far as China is concerned, it will not get into an all-out war with India. But certainly it can keep nibbling at your borders on the northeast. They can create trouble over there, and they want to take land over there.
Right.
So if we want to do that, again, there's a problem. And lastly, when we talk about the nuclear option, we are talking about the tactical nuclear option. They've already certified that they will use the nuclear option if they get into a bad situation, if their surface forces are having a big problem.
Right. Thank you, sir. We were talking about, how the owners of Escalation is on Pakistan. And Marshal Ahluwalia said that, all of this is semantics, etc. Look, Pakistan has not learnt any lesson. As we speak, breaking news coming in, viewers, that explosions have been heard in Jammu. Drones have been intercepted at multiple locations in Jammu. So as we speak, this is happening. Air raid sirens have gone on there. General Meston, what do you make of this? This is the real face of Pakistan.
See, firstly, they'll keep trying, and all their attempts will be unsuccessful. The fact that explosions have been heard, apparently air defense systems have intercepted them. Also, in the course of discussion, I'll just say 4 major points have emerged. China factor, nuclear factor, and of course, what India should do, and is a stable Pakistan is in India's interest. I'll just highlight. I'm very clear, China will not get involved. They would not like to move any forces along the Indo-China border. Op Prakram is an example. They had not moved anything that time when we are ready to go in for war, and we are deployed there for more than 10 months. Similarly, in Kargil, China had not moved, and now this time, as brought out by Ambassador Sajjan, because of its trade wars with the United States, it's in a quandary, so it will not like to get involved. What India should do, I think it is very clear, the Defence Minister has clearly stated, Operation Sindoor is ongoing. So we have not stopped anything. We are continuing, and we'll continue to do what is in our national interest. Third question is stable Pakistan. I think now it is very clear we should not be worried about Pakistan. Pakistan is a failed state. It will collapse. It will be just broken. I have no doubts on that. Because of my exposure in Afghanistan, I recollect, and today also I got so many messages from Afghans. They were so happy, celebrating. We are with India. Hit these chaps. They were calling them wolves. Hit these wolves. Similarly, in Balochistan, I know what is the sentiments in Balochistan.
Right.
So Pakistan will get, fractured. It may only be finally Pakistan, Punjab, let it be. And last, nuclear. I'm very, again, convinced, and I agree with RSN saying, nuclear bogey is just a bogey. They will not use it. I'm making this statement, and I'm quite confident. They will not use it, and they know the repercussions. And as it is, they are stayed. And I feel, within the next few days, or maybe even today or tomorrow, Munir may be removed in some way. How he'll be removed? Not by the Indian Armed Forces. I think the people of Pakistan will remove him. So situation is very, very grim for Munir.
Let's take out Munir. I don't know what it takes to take out Munir, but let's take him out if we can, and let's send a message not just to Pakistan. Because I don't think, the limited understanding that I have, I don't think Pakistan can ever be a stable state. That's not possible. It is expecting too much from Pakistan. But Major Punia, हम बात कर रहे थे एस्केलेशन की, एस्केलेशन शुरू कर दिया पाकिस्तान ने. एक्सप्लोजन सुनाई दे रहे हैं, वहां पूरा ब्लैकआउट हो गया. जी मेजर पुनिया, अगर आवाज आ रही है आपको तो.
या आवाज आ रही है. With all due respect to my seniors, but I have a little bit different opinion. जो चाइना है, चाइना का जो present situation है, 148 करोड़ people, और साथ में जो टैरिफ वॉर है अमेरिका के साथ, और आज के दिन चाइना का जो मार्केट है वो इंडिया में इतना बड़ा है, चाइना इस लड़ाई में नहीं आने वाला है. दूसरी बात है जो न्यूक्लियर बोगी जो आरएसएन सर ने बोला, ये चूर्ण पाकिस्तान इतने सालों से बेच रहा है, उनकी औकात नहीं है. उनको भी पता है कि अगर उन्होंने न्यूक्लियर स्ट्राइक की तो इंडिया पूरे पाकिस्तान को बिल्कुल मिट्टी में मिला देगा. सो कोई न्यूक्लियर अटैक नहीं होने वाला है. बात रही कि एस्केलेशन की, ये जरूरी इसलिए है कि आप एक बेसिक एक स्ट्रक्चर देखिए कि अगर आपके घर में लोन है, अगर पानी मिलता रहेगा तो घास बढ़ता रहेगा, आप घास को काट सकते हो लेकिन अगले महीने फिर बड़ा होगा वो। उस घास को खत्म करने के लिए आपको नल को बंद करना पड़ेगा, जो पानी की सप्लाई है वो बंद करनी पड़ेगी। और पाकिस्तान आर्मी वो पानी की सप्लाई है। जब तक आप पाकिस्तान आर्मी को हिट नहीं करेंगे, और हिट का मतलब इतना बुरी तरह से हिट नहीं करेंगे, तब तक आतंकवाद चलता रहेगा। हमारे साथी, हमारे फौजी भाई कश्मीर में शहीद होते रहेंगे, ये लड़ाई कभी खत्म नहीं होगी। और पाकिस्तान स्टेबल हो या नहीं हो, जैसा सर ने बोला, कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता, पाकिस्तान वैसे भी टूटने वाला है। और हमें हेल्प करनी चाहिए कि पाकिस्तान जितना जल्दी टूटे वो पूरी दुनिया के लिए अच्छा होगा।
नहीं, हेल्प
तभी
हमें लीड
आतंकवाद
लेना
खत्म हो
चाहिए।
सकता है।
पाकिस्तान 1971 में जो हमने किया था, जनरल साहब, you know, I think the time has come. Let's do that. I have a question for Mr. Sajjanar, but before that, I want to quickly bring in, Air Marshal Chaudhary once again. Air Marshal, breaking news is coming in. Even as we are discussing that, look, graded response, etc., etc. Pakistan does not understand this language, sir. It understands the language of, surgical strikes, of punishment.
I have a slight different view. We are here in this for a long haul and a marathon with the aim. The only way to really hurt Pakistan is not with surgical strikes or one or two surgical strikes. That obviously, clearly we have seen in the past, it has not deterred them. Or at least not deterred them for long. But what will really matter is to hurt them long and hard in a continuous manner and in a very calibrated and graded manner. Like I said before, there is very clearly an integrated game plan in our military for the first time since 1971, which is phenomenal. If you see, all the three services have orchestrated their operations in a very well-planned, well-practiced and coordinated manner. And it is being playing out, the entire game plan is going to unfold, I think, over the next, depends entirely on how long Pakistan wants to take this. I think we are ready for all the options. But like I said, we are still a democratic nation, a growing and
Right. Air Marshal Chaudhary, as we speak, we don't have the best of line with you. The connection is patchy. Viewers, I apologize for that glitch. But what's playing out on your screen is the situation right now in Jammu. These are deferred pictures. We are a responsible broadcaster. These are deferred pictures. But this does indicate, the situation there on the ground. Pakistan not learning any lesson. The missile misadventure continues. And we must hit them hard once again. RSN Singh, while we were talking about, breaking up Pakistan into two like what we did in 1971, उन्होंने फिर से शुरू कर दिया है सर। तो जो लोग ये ब्रॉडकास्ट अभी देख रहे होंगे अपने ड्राइंग रूम में, उनको लगेगा रात को भी कुछ हो सकता है, पाकिस्तान फिर कुछ कर दे।
नहीं, बिल्कुल। आप देखिए, एक सिंपल सा क्वेश्चन है कि do you stop just at retaliation, retribution, response? Is it the objective? Yes, partially. But the bigger objective, of course, is to change the jihadi DNA of Pakistan. And I don't mind if it collapses in that process. Because I know that the Balochis and Sindhis, they don't share this kind of, even Pashtuns, they don't share this kind of, Punjabi brand of jihad. So what do I do, or you can do if they, collapse under that weight? एक दूसरा बात सुनिए, China-Pakistan economic corridor is something is unacceptable to us. There can only be, and at a larger picture, IMEC and Belt Road Initiative, they cannot coexist, right? Chinese presence in Persian Gulf is unacceptable to us. I don't know with whom all we have congruency, as far as this maritime strategic interest is concerned. And in the process, what should I say? If Pakistan has to break, it has to break. Okay. It was just It was welded together artificially. इस्लाम के नाम पर पाकिस्तान बना और इस्लाम के नाम पे टूट रहा है, क्योंकि यहाँ के जो बलूचीज और जो पश्तून्स हैं वो कह रहे हैं कि we don't endorse your brand of Islam, Punjabi brand of Islam.
Let's first address the issue at hand. Marshal Chaudhary, we have the Akash Tir, we have the S-400, sir. I want you to speak to the viewer, the common man of India, and explain to them, reassure them that we have what it takes to not just thwart Pakistani misadventure, but also to hit them hard.
Okay, I'll just try and do that in a very simple manner. The Indian Air Force is responsible for air defense of its sovereign airspace, which it does 24/7, 365 days in a year in peacetime. In war, it goes into overdrive, where all our radars are churning, radars which look well inside Pakistani airspace. And I think, as Air Marshal Ahluwalia brought out in the beginning, air defense and offensive air power for use for depth targeting are conjoined twins. Both are necessary. But what is important here is that Pakistan has a fairly capable air force, which unfortunately appears to have failed. And this capable air force is a myth they have been creating for a very, very long time. And I think that has come out to play in the fact that all their attempts to strike inside our airfields are to create a situation for the air power to come in. But we have a very robust air defense system. Not just radars, they are well integrated with the whole range of surface-to-air guided missiles, which are short range to long range, and which cover the entire spectrum of altitude in a three-dimensional in a construct. And its efficacy has already been proven. So the attempts which have been made, so I think our citizens should rest.
Okay. Well said, Marshal Chaudhary. Really reassuring words to the people. Let's quickly bring in our colleague Tejshri, joining us live from Jammu, very close to, the site of this UAV that was fired but detected by our defense systems. Yes, Tejshri, over to you. What's happening?
Well, in fact, what we got to know was that, Jammu was under attack. Pakistan tried to attack the Jammu city. And in fact, that was again one more cowardly attack that was made by Pakistan. But what we are getting to know is that the attack was thwarted. Pakistan's attempt to Jammu airport thwarted. And in fact, visuals we see
brighten the night's time, Pakistan. Okay, we have, issues connecting to Tejshri. But General Meston, how should India now respond to this? They tried to attack 15 cities. We've responded. Ista kya jawab hona chahiye?
Apparently, there is no doubt the response would be very quick and clear. Number one, we have already intercepted it by the drones, and one should not be surprised if they have tried an aircraft intrusion. Their aircraft perhaps could have been knocked down. This is, I feel, if they have come in that. Number two, what India will now do, response, I think there is no doubt we will brighten the night skies in Pakistan. Very clear the way it has happened last night. So we have got full range of option, and now I think Pakistan is heading for the next trouble, and therefore Defense Minister stated the Operation Sindoor is ongoing.
Major Punia, last 30 seconds आपके लिए क्या बोलेंगे आप देश के लोगों को जो ये प्रोग्राम देख रहे हैं?
We will hit them more, we will hit them more and more, we will hit them more and more. That's the only language Pakistan understands. एक वायलेंट आदमी सिर्फ एक ही चीज से डरता है कि अगर उससे बड़ी वायलेंस करने वाला उसके सामने खड़ा है. We have to hit them more and more hard. That's the only solution, and we will do that. Prime Minister already given full freedom to Indian Armed Forces.
Thank you. Colonel RSN, last word, sir. Last 20 seconds.
No, I said, even at the cost of reputation, dil mange more.
Well, that is the spirit and sentiment across the country. Hope those words come true. Gentlemen, I thank all of you for joining us on India Upfront. The news are with Navika Kumar on the other side. Stay with Times Now.